So it sounds complicated. I encourage people to simply walk through the code step by step, read the comments, and sort of like just take your time. And then
Well,
play with some of the variables. Another way to do this is to play with the variables in common. For example, it may not be really obvious when you jump. You're like, whoops, you jump, and then you try to move to the right. You're like, well, I can't really tell. Did I jumped, and then I tried jump. I can't really see this guy moving. I mean, it doesn't seem like he's moving that fast. But if we made this 300 really strong, you'd be able to see it right away. So I'm going to jump, and I'm going to move to the left. Now you can see that I'm really cruising. So there's something going on there. You just play with these values. I think 300 might have been a bit too high. I just threw myself into the outer orbit of Pluto. But the point is play with the values, comment out bits of code, and you're going to start to see how this comes together. And next week, I think what I'll do is I'll try to have a drawing program so I can draw this out, because it might be a little confusing with me just waving my cursor around going.
no, I know it feels awkward to sort of. Hey, now I have a drawing tool over here. Was this you? Were you trying to draw over here?
No, you got to draw on the camera. It doesn't allow you to draw when you're sharing the screen.
Oh, you got to draw on the camera. Okay. Because
Yeah.
I hit it when you hit it, I hit it, and it popped over here for me. Okay.
Yeah. No, I can't draw. Yeah, I don't like the drawing program in Google Hangouts. I'm too stupid to figure it out, or it doesn't work well enough for me.
You're screen sharing and then try to draw, so it's not additive.
Mm-hmm.
Even though.
No, it's definitely not additive. Ha ha ha. Very nice. Yeah, you're drawing on your own face. I can see that.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I was going to say. Well, there you go. So I think what we're seeing here is one, we were a little short on time today because we went long on our guest. But the other thing is that we are setting up the world and also putting in things that having discussions around things that are a part of the game design, not just gravity. I mean, we could definitely point somebody to the documentation and say, here's how you add gravity to your game. Right, and then there are sample code with Corona that you can download that show crates falling from the sky. Right, there's gravity applied to the world, but that's a very, very simplistic example, and it's not all that interesting. Right, apart from that was simple, that was easy to do. Then you're like, okay, well, what can I do with that? Right, and that's where it gets complicated. I mean. We have to put in these extra bits. So today's value is really looking at how the world is set up, looking at the key events, looking at how the vectors are calculated, looking at how to do the air control, looking at how to do the left and right movement. So there's a lot there that we covered in a short amount of time.
Who drew a dot on my face?
Yeah, I don't know. Is that you?
I've got a dot on my face.
Maybe it's just a dot that's just.
Right here. Thank you very much.
Is it a beauty mark?
Beauty mark?
I don't know what it is. See, there you go.
Yeah. The trouble here is today I wanted to. I know we're way past, but I just wanted to kind of like frame the discussion because there's getting to be so much code in Player, and I haven't had a chance to really reduce it and take it to the point where people can go, okay, this is the one part I want to look at. I can see how that works. It's sort of some parts are up at the top, some parts at the bottom. I'm still playing around with ways to organize it for people to really get it in their heads. But the principles are the same. What we're trying to do is we're trying to make a force, push your player down to a local object in the direction of that object. And now we want to jump left and right. Well, that's just another force pointing in a tangential direction. So this is if my hand here is the force down, all we're doing is we're putting another vector that goes left or right, and then that gives us the ability to rotate around this central point. I know you're laughing.
I'm just like,
okay, my fat old hands aren't helping. How's this?
Now you just you've introduced the sophisticated drawing tools.
Yeah, it's my sophisticated real-world drawing tools. Don't make me pull out of my sophisticated real-world drawing tools here, okay, man?
Oh, there you go.
And this is a bonus, folks. Those looking at the code, you'll notice that I did make the pretty Kenny art and stuff. All that stuff's in Player 2 with the little bit to draw animations, and that's all hooked up, so you can see how that's hooked up too.
Well, cool. Well, we'll put a
Okay,
link
I'll
in the
stop
show notes.
talking.
I think people should go and download it. Like you said, it's been updated. So if you
Mhm.
downloaded it before, check the link in the show notes. Go download it again, get the update, and check out what's being done there. Maybe keep a copy of the first one you had and take a look at
I keep
the
them
other
all.
one.
I keep backup
Yeah.
copies of each one, so people can go back and look at each one. It's in the app older versions folder.
There you go. So compare notes and see what's being done there. And if you have questions, let us know as we go along. I'm sure we can kind of address those, in the comments and stuff. So,
Yeah. If people have specific things they'd like me to focus on, by all means, because I could talk about any one of these things, but some are more interesting than others to folks.
okay, cool. So next time we'll look at some more of the gravity pits, the pieces.
Yeah, so that's a real good question, actually. Let me tell you after the show. I'd like to be able to tell people now, but we could go into the animation and that stuff. But in the next week, things I wanted to add were the obstacles and the checkpoints. But I think we're kind of behind, and I still need to explain some of the gravity code to folks.
Okay. Okay.
So
Well, this is a learn at your own pace, right? So we're never behind. We're just sort of not where we thought we would be.
another thing is, it's possible as if this goes on too long, what I might do is a couple of short snippet videos and add-ons to this one, where I talk about some piece, so we don't have
Yeah.
to spend the show on it.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, it's up to you if you want to do that, but I don't really think that we need to cut it short because there's valuable pieces of conversation that are happening here, just like the keystroke
The
conversation.
keystroke that came out, that was a great talk piece. I mean, I'm glad we had that, because that
Yeah.
was I use it all the time, and I encourage people to.
I think it says a lot about touch events. I think it says a lot about what's available as far as keyboard shortcuts and being able to add stuff to your games. I think it says a lot about which parts of the simulator work and on which the different platforms between Windows and Mac. There's a lot of subtext there that comes out of these conversations. So I don't think we necessarily need to skip ahead unless you just feel like it's going on too long and you don't want to do it anymore.
Well, what I don't want for people to do is have this code in their hands for a long time and be confused. They've got the code. They're like, I don't understand this one piece. I wish you would just explain how it works.
Well, that's what. And again, yeah. So if you have questions about that, let us know, and we'll stop down to discuss any part of it. And and if you come across one of the older Hangouts where we talked about an example or a game mechanic that you don't understand, let us know that as well. We can always revisit those conversations and say, hey, okay, well here's what we said last time, but here's some more detail. So there you go. All right, guys. Well, that's all the time we have for today. So be back here Mondays, 12 p.m. Pacific, to talk all about mobile app development using Corona SDK. Until then, have a great week and happy coding.
Auf Wiedersehen.